Well, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody on Facebook Live. Denny Grimes here, delivering the mastery of real estate. And as always, we're talking about question-based, listening to enhanced conversations. We've got a live class. We're going to have live objections. In fact, are you guys even get any objections in this market? Doesn't everybody want to buy and everybody want to sell? Isn't everybody happy right now? So I appreciate you all being on. As just a reminder, our topic, and we're going to role play, we're going to work on our strategic question asking, because there's power in questions, and we know that there's no bad questions. There's good questions and great questions, and the more we work at it, the more and more we're going to develop great questions. Great questions makes them think about their process of buying or selling, and sometimes they're balled up because of emotion, fear maybe, or uncertainty. And asking them great question makes them go to logic, and sometimes it acts like a jackhammer on their emotion. And if you haven't already, please go to my YouTube channel, Denny Grimes, Mastery of Real Estate. All of our past classes are there. If you watch them all, you'll be as smart as a fifth grader. And also, I have also my YouTube, my TV spots, and some would be very germane. The one I did today, I don't know if it would be germane to your particular market. We all know that the market's been going up. However, our building lot market has been flat for 10 years. And since probably the last 4 months now, we've seen the market go up. In fact, since January, it's up over 100% in value. So get this, I told my team this story. I just discovered this in our multiple listing service. How would you like to make $5 million in about 23 days? Well, this lot had been on the market quite a while in Naples. Naples is a pretty expensive market, very nice area, sold for $13.9 million. After being on the market like 4 or 5 years with the same agent. Imagine, I don't know how you actually do that many extensions. However, it sold in January for $13.9 million. The buyer turned around and put it right back on the market. I see there's no difference in the day it closed and the day it went back on the market. Maybe he was an agent and listed it for $5 million more. 18.9. It sold in 23 days at $18.9 million. That's a quick $5 million. Not a bad day, right? One of those every month would be pretty cool. So I always have a thought of the day, and I know we've talked about this the last several weeks. It's about the market changing. Well, we've always talked about the mood of the buyer, and it always starts there. Why? It's because of the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. We know that. Now, the sellers control the market with inventory. However, the buyers control the market based on what they're willing to pay for it. And so this is a graph I've shown. You might be seeing it in your market where the disposition or the mood of the buyers shifted, where buyers right now aren't as bullish. In fact, 2/3 of the buyers don't think it's a good time to buy. Well, what's interesting, we've been feeling it. Maybe we're watching the days on the market go up a little bit. Maybe you're not getting like 45 offers on your listings. You're only getting 25. You're seeing the market slow down significantly. Well, what's interesting, and I'll show you right here in our market, you can see here, this is the percent change in our single family 2020, 2021. And you can see a lot of green lines. Now, I know this is my market. You'll have to look at your market. And you see no red except for these 2 months, April, May of last year, when really COVID started affecting our sales. Well, what's interesting, watch real close. I'll get out of the way. What are you seeing over here? Maybe, can you see it? It's the first indication that the sales are dropping. Now, again, forget about these high numbers here. Even in your market, that's corresponding to year over year to our low numbers there. So that doesn't mean anything. So this is the first time now that we've been able to document a little bit of a shift in the market. Now, maybe it's vacation, maybe the new Delta variant. I mean, there could be a lot of explanations for it. However, it bears watching. And again, Gary Keller says to be the local economist of choice, you should be watching your data, looking at it so you can advise your clients accordingly. Now, here's the danger, Will Robinson, of this information. When the media finally sees that and it says sales are down in July, on top of all the other great news is out there in the world today, right? That may start kind of a little bit of a snowball. And buyers right now don't need any fuel to fuel their hesitancy, right? And so if the media starts reporting the numbers are slowing, do you think that might make buyers a little bit more hesitant. Now, we're still selling stuff. I mean, our inventory is still low. We're still selling stuff. And, you know, some things are selling very rapidly. I was just talking before we went live here that our land, we have 5,000 lots for sale in my county here in Southwest Florida, in between Naples and Fort Myers. That's a lot of land, a lot of buildable lots. Yet, although that market's been flat, it's going up. So believe me, I know the market's still going up. I'm not preaching Chicken Little stuff. I'm just saying there's a change out there. Any comments? You guys feeling it? This small group, come off the mic or put it in the chat. Are you sensing it? Let me hear a couple comments. They still say, Sonny, cat got you. Does a cat got your tongue? That's what they used to say. My grandmother used to say that all the time.
Ginger, what about you?
Yeah.
We are seeing a slight, but ever so slight slowdown. It's still hot here in the Reno market. I think we're still getting a lot of the buyers coming in from California. We had a house that just went on the market, and I know when you're talking land, but we just had a house come on the market for $380. It was the top sales price in the area with no flooring, and we got 9 offers, and 7 out of 9 were over asking. It has no floors. Did I say it has no floors?
You mean it has no floors or no flooring?
It has no flooring, excuse me.
Okay.
No flooring. So he had pulled up the flooring with the intent to replace the flooring, have someone come in and replace it. And I said, you know, do you want to do it? And he said, no, I really don't. I just want to get out and buy something newer. And so I said, let's try it. Let's put it on the market. Literally 9 offers. We had 26 showings over the weekend. And we still had showings being asked yesterday while we were talking to the client. So we would have probably had another 10 or 15 showings.
So thank you for sharing that, Ginger. So what do you make of that in the market? And we can talk about it. I've got some awesome, we're going to do some awesome role plays today. I've got 8 different objections. Some you might have heard before, some are worded a little bit differently. I got 4 from a buyer, 4 from a seller. We're going to have, you guys will pick someone, or you guys can volunteer. We're going to probably keep it to a 4-minute or a 5-minute maximum role play. Then we'll kind of debrief it a little bit. However, if you want to talk a little bit about the physics of it, let me just give you my spin on it. So if a house is listed in like Ginger just described, what do you already know based on what she said? She had 9 offers, right? 5 over asking price, and a bazillion showings, et cetera, et cetera. Is that pretty accurate, Ginger?
Mm-hmm.
What can you ascertain based on that activity? What do you know?
I'm not sure what you're looking for, but right now we have not enough listings, and we have way too many, well, not too many. You can never have too many buyers, but we have a lot of buyers looking, and we don't have enough inventory. So our inventory is really low.
So okay, I'm sorry, keep going.
Is that what you were looking for, or I'm not sure?
Well, was it your listing?
It was my listing, yeah.
Okay, so let's just dissect this a moment. Here's what I could ascertain from that.
Okay.
No judgment, because it can be a strategy when you list it low. I don't know if you took the comps or past sales, and maybe you know the market's moving upward, so you add a factor to it, and you're guessing where that market may bite without being unrealistic. Would that be accurate?
Right. So it's the highest priced home that will have sold in that neighborhood in any condition. However, the turnover rate in that neighborhood is really low. There's a lot of homeowners in the area. It's kind of a desirable area for location reasons.
Right. So this is what I can ascertain. Your best guess was lower than the market's appetite.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, I thought we were pricing it high, but we apparently priced it either just right or maybe too low.
Well, you did price it too low because you had people, and I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying we're all dealing with this. This is what I want you to know about the physics of the market, guys, and we can have a discussion about this, because if the market starts micro shifting, The buyers are going to be backing off. Remember, they have the goal, they make the rules. The seller's still thinking it's going to be, they have all aces, and it's not going to be the case. So we're going to have some conversations. However, multiple offers means that the initial asking price that was launched to the market was below the appetite of the buyers in that market. Now you can bid that up. I don't think it can be disagreed that the buyers were willing to pay more than we thought. And it happens a lot. It happens in our market, in our listings. Yes. Now, again, I don't know how much more. Now, again, when you have in fact, one of our role plays is going to be something like that, where the seller is going to, find somebody who wants to do this, where an offer comes in super fast, or maybe even before it was launched, and the seller is going to ask you what you should do. What should they do? So we'll talk about that. But I want you to understand, from my standpoint, the efficiency of the market, doing your best guess is, list it. I know it was the highest in the land. I just told you about that listing that sold for $5 million more, right, in 23 days. And there's no way an agent, I don't even know how they would have guessed that. And they sold it for full price, $5 million over the last asking price, meaning the buyer didn't even negotiate with them. They could have left money on the table. So that's why one of my mindsets, you guys, is in this market, I don't walk away from any listing. I have a listing appointment tomorrow. This lady really wanted to talk to me. I don't go on appointments much anymore. So I'm going to one of my listing agents down there. And this is another role play. The seller said, hey, look, the house just down the street went on the market for $1 million, and I paid $350 for mine. What should I sell mine for? In fact, we can go to that if you want. Just a second, I'm going to let you guys decide who wants to do that role play from a seller standpoint. However, the model we follow, just to review it, is acknowledge, isolates other than that, answer, close, and let's do it by asking questions. Now, do we have anybody out there that would like to work as a listing agent right now? And you're going to get the objection. Let me find it here. Right here. The home just listed down the street from me for $1 million. What should I list my home at? Who would like to be the agent on a quick 4 or 5 minute role play on this? And I'll be the seller. I'll be fair. Who would like to do it in order to sharpen your axe? Don't make me role play with myself. That's no fun.
I'll do it.
All right, Ginger, way to go. All right, so Ginger, we're at the table. I'm talking to 3 different agents, and you're the 3rd one in. So this is what I say. The home just listed down the, let me see here, Sonny, I'm going to get my clock going. Just a second, Ginger. Stopwatch. All right. Home just listed down the street for $1 million. What should I list my home at?
Well, have you thought about a price for your home? Do you have a price in mind for your home?
Well, I never thought my home would be worth $1 million, but that house down there is on the market at $1 million. And so, I just redid my house, and mine's nicer. It's about the same size. And I think I deserve $1 million.
Awesome. I love that. So, am I at the table with them, or am I on the phone?
No, you're at the table with me.
Okay. Perfect. Well, Denny, I think that's awesome. And I think that, only the market's going to tell us what your home would sell for. What is it about that home that's similar to yours that makes you feel that it's worth $1 million?
It's got a floor. It's got floors. You just sold a house with no floors, right? Mine's got floors.
That's awesome. Well, you know what? I would, if you feel like I'm willing to go ahead and list it at whatever number you'd like me to. And the market's going to tell us whether or not that price is, too high, too low, or just right. So if we can go ahead and get the home on the market, if for some reason we don't get the activity that we need, and what that means is we don't get 10 showings minimum and 2 offers within the first 10 days, then we need to sit down at the table again and have a chat and see what we need to do from here. There's only 3 things about a house: position, which is the location, and you can't change anything about the location, price, and condition. And so right now we're deciding, how to price it. So there'd be only 2 things that would keep it from selling, and it'd be price and condition. And so sign right here. When would you like to get the house on the market?
Well, are you saying, you're saying you'll take the listing at $1 million?
Sure.
And what do you think? What do you think? You think it'll sell for that?
Well, right here I have the comparable, the homes that have sold within the last 90 days. And we can only go by historical facts. Now the markets, you see what's going on in the market. I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't make any promises. However, I'm willing to work really hard for you in order to make sure that this home gets sold at the highest price possible. So obviously we want to, get in there and get some really good photography. So we got to have a little bit of time for that. How do you feel about $1 million listing it at $1 million? How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it'd make my day if we can sell it at that. So
Right?
you're saying $1 million, right?
Right. So now if it didn't sell for $1 million, is that going to hurt your feelings?
Boy, I don't have to sell a Ginger.
Okay. Awesome. Well, where do you plan to go when the home does sell?
I'm going to go to North Carolina.
Okay, awesome. So if we were to get the home sold in 30 days, are you planning to make that move right away to North Carolina?
Yeah, I'm flexible.
Okay,
I've got
awesome.
30 seconds.
So if we were to get the home sold within 30 days at $1 million, you'd be okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the lowest number that you are comfortable with getting with everything that I've shown you here?
Interesting question. Well, I don't know. I don't think I'd maybe 950.
Okay, great. So 950. So even if we get an offer for 950, you'd be willing to move forward on that?
Okay. Yeah, that's the lowest I'd take though. I'm not too excited.
Absolutely. Well, our goal is to get you over, right? Our goal is to get you as much as possible.
4 minutes. Nice job. So, all right. How'd you feel? How'd you feel you did?
Okay. I could have done better.
Oh, why?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, don't ask. I'll tell you. Anybody have any comments out there? James, Brian, come on. Good to see you, man.
Denny,
Very handsome.
other than price, is there any reason why you wouldn't sign with me today?
Well, all right. So what are you saying, James?
No, I'm saying we'll take the listing. The market's going to determine if the price is right or not. I'm happy to take the listing, whatever price you think your house will sell at. But there's always going to be one of three outcomes. We're going to get little to no showings.
Yeah, hang on to that one. Hang on to that. So this is one thing I would talk to you, Ginger, about. Now, what she did, here's my blink. But any more blinks out there, I want to give you an opportunity to speak. We'll come back to you, James, in a second. What did you hear that you liked, or what would you have said differently or asked differently?
Okay, I like the three outcomes. I love that. There's gonna be one of three outcomes.
Well, you didn't use that.
I didn't. No, I will now.
Yes, right. Well, okay. So here's my blink on it really fast. Let me tell you what she did extremely well. She was going to take the listing, number one. Now, don't walk away from any listing. The other thing, you guys, which I think she did, I'd give her a 90% or 95, which is great. I didn't get often in high school, right? You set expectation, not prices. She was a little bit slippery, and I was attempting to have her put her fingerprints on that price, but she really didn't. It was my number, you see, and there's nothing wrong with taking an overpriced listing if it's the seller's number and you're not telling them it's going to sell at that, because there's one of three outcomes. Now, Ginger, I'm looking at you instead of the camera because you're right there on my TV screen. May I give you a little sandpaper?
Of course, that's what I'm here for.
So years ago, I heard the 10 showings and 2 offers and whatever you said on the first 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
Where did you hear that?
It's a script somewhere, I'm sure.
I know. That's the story about the grandmother who cuts both ends of the ham off because the great grandmother did it, blah, 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 because their pan wasn't big enough. That script was developed so long ago that and I used to use it all the time, but there's no science behind that. And here's the thing. I've learned to always be as pure as I can and never paint myself into a corner. Can you see a time basically where you have a lot of showings, particularly in this market, and you may have had 10 showings and you may have had 20 showings, you may have had an offer or two, and it's still overpriced. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I would like you to do, and James, I'm going to come back to you, and I'd like you to use the 3 outcomes, because this is going to be bulletproof. The other one, in fact, Ginger, I used to have on my 3 outcome sheets, so I'll pull up here for everyone. And if you want a copy of it, there's no problem. I can get it to you if you go to my, just email me. I'll send you the PDF at coachdannygrimes@gmail.com.
Okay.
Here it is. There are only 3 outcomes, and this is bulletproof. You don't even have to do market analysis, guys, if you don't want to. You can blindfold yourself. You could price it at anything. You could use the dartboard method. You could price it at 5 million. And eventually, if it's too high, you're not going to get showing. So James, go over the 3 outcomes for folks that haven't heard this yet.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to price the home, try to get you top dollar, and then there's going to be one of 3 outcomes that are going to happen. We're going to have little or no showings. We're going to have showings, but then we're not going to get any offers. Or, of course, the 3rd outcome, which is the house will sell.
Okay. Does that make sense to you guys? This is a form. And there's a place down here where they initial it, because sellers get amnesia after this conversation. They forget they had the conversation about price. Any comments on that? Anybody using the form, because it's magical? I didn't develop the form. I just tweaked it a little bit. And I think it's the most important listing form on the planet. Any comments from anybody?
I totally agree with it, Denny. I use it all the time. It's fantastic.
If you don't have a copy of this, email me, coachdannygrimes@gmail.com. I'll basically make sure that my assistant sends it to you. The interesting thing is this. Let me ask you one more thing, and Ginger, we'll go to the next role play. And somebody get ready, and I'll probably go to Brian. Thanks for volunteering. You're all dressed up today. You're on a listing appointment today, Brian? Oh, you're on the phone right now. Okay. You're doing your cold calls during my class. That's awesome. Okay, so Ginger, you made one other statement, and I just wanted to talk to you about it. You were telling me as a seller, you're going to work really hard. I'm going to list it at $1 million. I'm going to work really hard to get it sold.
Yes,
Do you believe that?
I do. I know you don't, because I know what your philosophy is behind this.
Well, what's my philosophy?
The posting on the MLS, it gets spread out to so many different websites, and everyone's looking online that really there's nothing special that someone can do beyond, putting great photography on and videography and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So the listing sells itself.
Well, because of the efficiency of the market, but that's okay. I mean, it's a great line to say in a listing presentation. I'm just kind of curious, what can you do? So if you put an ice cube tray in the freezer and the freezer is not cold enough to freeze the water, how hard can you work to make it freeze the water?
So part of my value proposition is that we share it within our market center. We have, 250 agents, as well as I have an outreach, in my database. So, yeah. So, I mean, in my defense, I have had listings sell from my postings on social media and whatnot. So I've had social media interest in listings that we've had that have actually closed on the property.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you would do that. And I'm not saying you shouldn't work hard or shouldn't tell your seller, like, no, I'm just going to put it in MLS, put a sign in the yard and pray somebody else sells it, like we always talk about in Bullet. I'm just saying, you guys, there's nothing you can do to cause an overpriced listing to sell. Now, I'm not suggesting you don't do what Ginger's doing, because you're going to have conversations with people. You're going to pick up the buyers. You're going to get the buyer's side. However, if it's not priced right, it won't sell. So all that activity is great. And it really works when you have it priced right. So I'm going to go to a buyer. I'm going to go to a buyer now. Who would like to work on a buyer objection? Because the buyers right now, their big thesis, because of maybe the change in the market, is this. Oops. Should I buy now or wait? That's kind of the tenor we're hearing more and more. And that slide shows that 2/3 of the buyers don't want to move into the market right now. So 4-minute role play. And I'm going to, who wants to be and handle the buyer? We're going to call on somebody. Well. Adam, you work with buyers? Adam, do you work with buyers? You're on mute, I think. Do you have a microphone there? No microphone? Do you have a little whiteboard you could write your, I'm kidding. All right, well, and he's still on the phone. So let's go to Josh. Josh, you ready?
Hey, Denny.
You ready?
Yeah, we're doing, I'm the buyer, I'm the agent.
You're the agent, my friend.
Okay.
Congratulations. I think you just did another Bold 100, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I've got 4 different ones here. I've got door number 1, 2, 3, and 4. What door do you feel like?
Let's go do door number 2.
Here we go. Potential buyer. I'm the buyer. In fact, I'll let somebody else be the buyer. So I'm going to have James Neighbor. James, you there?
Yep.
You're the buyer. Here's your objection. I'm using you because you're the listing agent and I want some of the commission back.
Okay. So I'm using you because you're the listing agent and I want some of the commission back.
Yeah, hi, James. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Hey, good.
You guys are at the table. You guys are at a table too, by the way. You're sitting at the table.
Gotcha.
Gotcha, perfect. So real quick, James, we're actually looking at, of course, selling your home and then buying your next home, correct?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. You said that you're actually using me as the listing agent because you want some of the commission back. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, this market's really hard, so I know pretty much any agent's willing to take on a buyer. So I want to make sure I can get some commission back. That way I can put it towards my closing cost and, get a better price for the home.
Okay, great. Do you know, as far as the commission that you would be getting back, do you have a number around that or any real motivation around that? Or do you have a number in mind there?
I was thinking when I did the numbers about 5,000.
5,000 back for using me to list your house and then also using me to help you buy your next house, correct?
Let me give you a little clarity. You are the listing agent on the house that he wants to put an offer in. Forget about
Oh, okay. Gotcha, Denny. Sorry, I wasn't sure. So, okay. Gotcha. So, oh, I see. So I'm essentially double ending the deal. Okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Sorry. All right, James. So in regards to this house that I'm listing, and that you're looking to buy it, like you said, you were hoping to get some of that commission back since I'm listing this house, and that number was 5,000. Is that correct? Or around 5,000?
Yeah, give or take. I know most listing agents, if they could save commission if I don't use a buyer's agent.
Okay, gotcha. Have you utilized the same strategy in the past with another agent?
Yeah, that's how we bought our first home, actually.
Well, that's how you bought your first home. Okay. Is that agent still in real estate?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you.
Depending on how much money he's giving back, I can tell you that if he was quick to, give you 5,000 back, what would the negotiation look like as you're going through that process with him or her?
Well, I guess it wasn't, that great of negotiations. I was able to get my way.
Correct. Yeah. So I can tell you that, in regards to me being able to work for both sides of this, in regards to me listing this property and then of course helping you purchase this property, my goal in this is really to negotiate for both sides and in your best interest. And, if you, just as a quick example, when you go and do a big purchase, like a car or anything like that, James, are you looking for the sure deal do you want to work with somebody that's helping you buy that car that's going to be able to negotiate that for you at the best of their knowledge? Or do you want somebody that's just going to cave and give in and do whatever you want?
Best of their knowledge, but obviously want to get a good price at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to take that same philosophy into this. If you do use me as the buyer's agent on this one, I'm absolutely going to work in your best interests and get you the best deal at the same time. And to be honest with you, even though your focus is, getting some of that commission back, I can tell you that I'll be able to bring you more value than that without even having to give my commission back to you.
I hear you. Well, we already have a family friend that's an agent. That's why I was willing to go with you if we were able to save some money.
Okay. Yeah, well,
10 seconds.
and in regards to that family agent, are they somebody that sells a lot of houses every year? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Time. Nice
Yeah.
job. All right. Awesome job. Awesome. How do you feel, Josh?
Yeah, pretty good. Thanks for putting me back on track, Denny. I didn't realize I thought I was double ending the deal. So yeah, but no, I thought I did pretty good. Of course, a few areas where I could have done better. So.
Well, aren't we finding buyers that, they want to work with a listing agent because they feel like they're going to get a better deal or whatever, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're seeing that. And so is there anything, if you had to go back and rewind to do again, would you do differently?
Yeah, I think getting to the point a little bit quicker. I noticed I was kind of going around the question a little bit there, so I could have been a little more pointed in it and giving a better example. So.
Awesome. Then James, I think James, you were the buyer, right? Or buyer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any feedback from your side?
I like how he started it out. He was really isolating the objection, and then yeah, I think I started catching him in a loop at the end. But
yeah, you were. Yeah, but you had a right to do that because he didn't really isolate.
Right.
He didn't, so that's okay. Any other comments or observations from anybody else before we move forward? I made a couple of notes that we can learn from, and we can, if you want to do this again, another spin on it, you can. Now, what's interesting is this, while you think and get the courage to speak up, if we know this can come up, then we should be ready for it, right? And we can be ready for it. So you are the listing agent. So any other comments you have on that, you guys?
I'm still unclear as to how we should proceed with that, because we had that actually on a listing recently where someone called and asked us to represent them because they wanted to save money. And then they were really pushy and rude about it. So we didn't really move forward with that person. They were just trying to get a deal, but I would love to know how would you go about that? How would you isolate that? And how would you get around?
Well, all right, so we can do that. I made a couple notes. Well, let me give you this though, Josh. I love the fact whenever there's money involved, I love the fact that he quantified it. Don't leave it dangling out there. And I know what $5,000, what is that? Is that like 2/3 of the commission? Because we never established an asking price. So I don't know what $5,000 was. However, when people are asking for some sort of compensation, discount, whatever, begin to quantify it. Don't assume, well, as a 0.5% or whatever. And sometimes you want to be using the percentage. Sometimes you want to use real dollars, depending on which one has the most effect. You did an awesome job with that, Josh. The second thing I wrote down is this. He went back to past experience. You see, sometimes people don't buy houses as often as we sell them, right? So the last time they might have bought a house was in 1974 and they did it a different way, or this is their MO. They want to go and work with a listing agent. And basically what you ask, Josh, is, well, how's that working for you? It's like watching a Greek wedding and the dad sprays Windex on everything because they think Windex is this miracle cure. So there's a lot of ways to handle it. Ginger, I'll role play with you if you want to be that person and let you know how I would probably do it. Because you have to, when you're dealing with somebody who has an objection, there is a consequence for them making their decision that way. So let me ask, who would like to, what is wrong with that? What is generally a fundamental flaw with that philosophy where a buyer wants to work with the listing agent? What's a flaw?
That you can't have a fiduciary duty to both parties. You can't do what's best for both parties.
Okay, that's true. I didn't really think about that. I don't even know if we have single agency here in Florida. It's transactional. I don't know if we have dual agency though. I mean, so I'm saying, so that could be right. What else? There's another flaw that they're shooting themselves in the foot by doing this. What do you think it is?
All I know is they think that they're saving money by not having representation outside of the listing agent. They think that they're saving money.
That's correct.
Yes. So one of the other flaw is this. Is it efficient for them to do that? There's 5 houses out there that maybe only 3 houses that they would like to see in their price range. And they might go pretty quick. And is it efficient for them to attempt to coordinate their schedule with 3 different listing agents? In fact, how many people made a call into a listing agent maybe a year or 2 ago and they still haven't called you back? Do you think it's efficient, you guys, to do that? No, it's not efficient.
Right.
So all right, so Ginger, let's just role play this. We'll take a couple minutes and anyone can add to it. If not, we'll go to the next one. So Ginger, so you're coming to me, it's my listing. You'd like to work with me just on this one house.
Yeah.
In order for you to save money or get money back.
Yeah. So, Denny, I'd really love to use you. I call the listing agent habitually because I know I can get a better deal just by working directly with you.
Okay. And so how long have you been doing that?
The last 5 houses that we've bought, that's how we did it.
Okay. And when was the last time you did that?
Let's see, we picked up a house, last year that way.
Okay. And other than that, is there any other reason why you don't hire one agent to give you professional representation no matter what you're looking at?
No. No, just I want to get the best price. And that's, in this competitive market, that's the way to do it. And, you're going to benefit from it.
Is this house you're going to move into, or is this an investment for you?
It's an investment.
Okay. And so why do you think you get a better price with a listing agent versus somebody who is going to be representing you?
Because I know most listing agents, they'll give a discount, so you don't have to actually, pay an additional agent for services that you'll provide me.
And all right, so the home is listed at $400,000, and let's say there's a $20,000, there's a $10,000 listing fee and a $10,000 co-broke on it. Okay, and what typically are agents discounting or giving back to you?
Well, it's more within the price, so I'm usually getting a better price than I would had I brought in an outside agent with me.
So are the agent's not giving you any commission back then? It said clarity's power, right? So I thought that's where we were going. So maybe.
No, not with this particular one. No one's giving anyone anything back. We can't do that legally here. So it's just, no, it's coming off of the purchase price. So, where you'd have to pay another agent, that came in, another, 10 grand, I come in, I use you, and, a price saves your seller another 5 grand. So, why not discount that off the price?
So do you think what's going on behind the scenes is I meet with the seller because I'm working with you, the buyer and the seller, that I'm charging the seller less?
Yes.
Therefore you get it for less?
Correct.
How do you know that's happening?
Well, that's been my experience.
Well, the only thing you know is what you got out of it. I mean, how do you know how much the agent gave that seller? How do you know?
I guess I don't, but there's incentive for you to work with me over anyone else, even if you are getting the full commission.
What's the incentive?
Well, you get paid both sides.
Well, there's really no incentive.
Yeah.
There isn't an incentive for me to work with you. There's an incentive for you to work with me, though.
Okay.
So let me see if I can just help you understand this. You see, you have no earthly idea what kind of deal you're getting because you don't know what kind of deal that other agent made with the seller. Is that true?
I guess so. Yeah.
The part you're not comparing is this. Number one, I don't give the seller a discount if I sell it because my question is, do you want the house or not? Because I've got other buyers I can show it to that aren't asking for a discount. So what would you rather have, a perceived discount or own the house?
I want to own the house.
Well, if I've got other buyers that are willing to go in and don't expect me to like drop some money in the pot, who do you think, who do you think I'm rooting for?
Yeah.
So why don't you go find a less experienced listing agent to work with? And let me just go on the other side of the coin and put a bow on this. This is the point I want you to get across. And you guys said this. I think it was James. The thing you're not comparing is how much better of a deal would you have had if you had a strong negotiating agent that was very experienced in negotiating for your behalf? Because how much is that listing agent really putting pressure on the seller? They might be giving up a few $1,000s and you're thinking they're winning, yet a professional agent working for you, representing you, may be able to put pressure on the agent, to put pressure on the seller, that you could double or triple or quadruple your savings. You're negotiating, you're going to court with the plaintiff's attorney. And you think you're getting a better deal? They throw a few $1,000s in there when, let me tell you a story. Now I'll tell you a story that we basically were able to get this buyer. You know, there's a lot of offers. We were able to craft the offer in such a way that they got it. They weren't the highest and best, yet they got the home, probably say $15,000. What do you want? You want to save money, really? Or you want to work with a listing agent just to take some money out of their pocket to make you feel better? So I'll just stop with that. Is anything in there sinking in, Ginger, that you could use, or anybody else? Any light bulbs going off for anybody?
Yes, absolutely. I like the part where you said, so your perception is that you're going to get a better deal. However, you don't know what happened on the other end. And what incentive do I have to work with you when I have buyers that are willing, that aren't asking for a discount, that are interested in purchasing? I love that.
Yeah. Do you want the discount or do you want the house?
You want the discount or you want the house? I like that.
All right. Awesome, Ginger. Thank you for participating. All right. Going back to a seller. Who wants to be a seller's agent right now? Seller. Sonny, pick somebody.
James Cassiola.
Okay, what are we doing?
You're the listing agent. You went door number 1, 2. Oh, I got a lot of doors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, come on. Let's make a deal. Only had 3. This can only be 3 doors. Come on.
No.
You got 5 doors?
5 doors.
All right, let's go with 4.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready?
Yep.
I'm the seller. Will you give me a discount on the commission if you sell it?
Well, let me ask you this.
Let me get the timer. Hang on. Start. Go.
Okay. Well, Denny, let me ask you this: other than the commission, is there any other reason why you wouldn't sign with me today to move forward?
See, that sound you hear is my heart going pitter patter. There's the isolation. No.
Okay, so just commissions. That's what you're about. And what are you looking to save on commission, Denny?
Well, I would think, if we're at X percent, I think you should have X minus 1.5 if you sell it, if you double end it.
Okay, Dave, let me ask you this. Do you understand how the commission structure works on a deal between the buyer and the seller's agent?
I think they just kind of split it, don't they?
Well, not exactly. Generally, we list it in the MLS and, we give a percentage. And if you want to get the best service and the most people looking at your property, you probably want to do a full 3% to the buyer's agent.
Right.
So basically what you're asking me then is you're asking me to do the job for 1.5%. Basically half price.
No, we're going to co-broke 3%. I'm just saying because it's your listing. You're going to get the whole cookie. And so, you're going to get the listing fee and my fee right at the same time. So you're getting a big cookie. And so I just want to share part of the cookie with me.
Well, Denny, if I was willing to give up my cookie that easy, right? Would you, when you do your job, what do you do for a living, Denny?
I'm a pilot.
Okay, well, would you take 25% less pay to fly the plane?
Well, if I had, there's economies of scale in what I do. So if somebody buys 1 ticket versus somebody buys 40 tickets, they get a better price from my airline. So, that's kind of the same thing. You're getting you're getting your cake and having it eat too. So you share some of the commission. The other agent said they would do that. So I'm just trying to figure out who I want to represent me.
Well, what are the other agents probably trying to get a quick sale, right? Turn it around, move your property, and not get you the best price. Do you feel like they're going to work harder for you if you give them half the commission they would normally get on a sale?
Well, it'll be easy. I mean, it'll be easy for them to get. And so in this market, I don't think you have to be that good. You just got to make sure you get the sign, like your number facing the street instead of having it turned around.
Well, that's very important too. But there's about another 180 steps that go into a closing, Denny. There's lots of places where the deal can go sideways and you can lose a deal. We could get problems with financing. We could get all kinds of issues. So let me ask you, what part of the sale do you want me to cut out?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how to really answer that question. I want you to you bring a buyer. You bring a buyer. If you bring a buyer, I'm just asking you, if you bring a buyer, will you give me a break? If you bring a buyer, will you give me a break?
Well, Denny, let's keep in mind too, I'm working for you. I'm trying to get you the best price for the home. If I bring the buyer, what am I doing for that buyer?
I don't know.
Well, I'd be trying to get them the best price for the house, right? You see the problem with that?
Oh, so you're not going to bring me a buyer?
No, I have lots of people on our team that can bring you buyers. I would not necessarily want to be the person trying to represent both parties, because I'm here as a fiduciary to do the best job I can for you to get you the most money for your home and get it sold.
You guys can't do that. Where are you?
We're in Arizona. We can do that. We can have other agents. It's not recommended because I feel like I can't work for you and the buyer equally, Denny. I'm here to give you the best service I can. Now, if somebody else in my brokerage comes in and wants to bring a buyer in, by all means, we have the same broker.
Okay, that's 4 minutes. Let's stop right there. So,
okay,
let's debrief a little bit. I've got a question for you, but how did you do?
I think I did pretty well on addressing the issue. I think I was trying to ask you questions about, why you're looking for this big discount. I don't know. What else would you think I should have unwrapped?
Was there any comments from you guys?
Insurance.
Moses, what'd you say?
Insurance, I believe, doesn't cover us if we double end a deal, right?
In Arizona?
I haven't heard that.
I'm not sure. Just in general for E&O insurance?
I don't know.
Oh.
Well, I thought you did a pretty good job of staying on point, and you were not letting go. I think probably you were getting maybe a little bit, you weren't really focused on something. There was a lot of different things that all made sense. I felt the resistance. So a normal seller probably would have, he might have capitulated. He might have had me capitulate to you. However, let me ask you this question. Let me just ask you this question, just like this was a role play, James.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying you're going to represent me, and then you're really, the probability of you bringing a buyer is low? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, for me personally to bring the buyer in fact, I would probably give a buyer that was issued in your home to another agent in our organization because I want to represent you and get you the best price for your home. Isn't that what you want as well?
Yeah. Well, interesting. So let me give you 2 cents on how I've used what I've done before in cases like this. They're going to ask. So basically, I'll go right away. Well, that's kind of an interesting idea. Now you are the seller, James.
Yep.
Where did you get the idea of asking for that discount?
Well, I figured you're getting paid on both ends, so I might as well make some money back out of the deal. You're getting double what you would normally get, so makes sense. You could give me a little something at the closing to help me.
Well, have you talked to any other agent that basically operates that way, or maybe has planted that seed in your mind?
Well, not that specifically, but there's tons of options out there, and there's tons of agents. I can go out and throw a rock and hit an agent.
Yeah, and particularly if you're throwing an inside target. So Well, let me ask you, what type of break are you asking for?
Well, I'm thinking, maybe like 25%. I think that's a fair amount. I mean, you're making 75% on the deal.
Okay. Well, so you would be ready to move forward if I said okay on that, right?
Sure.
No, nothing else bothering you.
No, just to paying out all that commission.
I got it. Well, I like to make people happy. So what if I said, if I sell it, I won't charge you anything? Would that be better?
Well, that seems like a really good deal.
Okay. So if I sell it, it's going to be the fee. If I sell it, the fee will be in half. So fair?
Sure.
Seller's not going to do that. What's
Why?
going through your brain?
Well, I just saved 50% off of the sale of my house.
Did
You're
you?
working for free. Well, I don't know. Are you any good?
Well, most sellers are going to say, wait a minute. That doesn't sound right. In fact, I'll tell you what, I won't even charge you a listing fee if I sell it. You okay with that?
Well, based on what you told me, I guess I'm not okay with that. Sounds strange that you would do that.
Well, it is strange. So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What's the probability that I'm going to sell it if I'm not compensated?
Well, you're saying you're going to get, but if you brought the buyer, you would get compensated.
No, I could take that buyer somewhere else and get paid more. So the real question is this.
Mm-hmm.
You want your agent fully invested working for you, or because that's going to put more money in your pocket, or you, I guess the question is this, do you want to make money or save money, James?
Well, I like to do both. I think if I sell my house in this market, I'm going to make money, but I'd also like to save some.
Not necessarily. I mean, anyone can, you don't really need an agent to sell in this market. Anyone can give it away. Hey, we met with another seller just like you. And this really works the best. I'm stepping out. If most likely that seller has talked to another agent, that other agent said they had discounted a percentage, they sell it. Then I'll come back and say, I'll tell you what, I'll not only discount a percent, I'll discount it 3%. I won't make anything. Does that make sense? Now that's an irrational statement. So what that agent is doing, the other agent said they would discount it, is they're basically telling you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. They have no intention of selling your house, James. Now, is that going to work to your favor or not? So all the people that call on your sign that they could be showing that they're taking them to somebody else's house. Does that work in your favor or work against you?
Well, that would work against me, but in this environment where there's no inventory, would you really take buyers away? And don't you have an obligation to your buyer to show them every property that's listed?
Yeah, but sometimes I just forget about certain homes to show.
Okay. You're going to have amnesia about this address, huh? Okay. Well,
again, and if you don't want to go through all that mess,
yep.
Say no.
Right.
Don't do it. Awesome. Anyone have anything else they want to add? Brian, you off the phone yet? He's gone. All right. All right, we have time for one more. Sonny, pick somebody.
Is it Mari? Mari Torres? Yes. Yes, that's my name.
Mar, are you ready?
Yes.
The rest of you guys, if you could be on camera, it'd be awesome, unless you're in a tanning bed or something. So you're going to work with a buyer. You work with buyers? You want a buyer today?
Yeah, I can work with a buyer, yeah.
Okay. You have 4 minutes. You want door 1, 2, 3, or 4?
1.
Here we go. I am the buyer. Well, let's see here. I'll let Liliana. Yeah. Canadian. Liana, you're the buyer. How do I know a better home won't come along?
Mary, how do I know better home won't come along?
I understand, Liliana. Do you want to know what homes are out there? All the homes are out there. Anything else that will be stopping you from moving forward to buy a home? Just not knowing what is out there.
Well, when I'm looking at houses, I wanted to make an educated experience. I want to know exactly what I'm going into. So are you able to help me with that?
Absolutely, I'll be able to help you with that. And what exactly you want to know about the property besides, the usual that we share with you about, square footage, price, and location? What else?
I want to know about the schools, how safe it's the area, and how far it's from the beach.
Okay, so you want to know about the school, how far it is, and the distance to the beach. What is important to you about the school? So I can.
Hang on a second. I want to keep it, you're kind of going a little bit sideways, a little bit. You showed her a house. It meets the criteria. You've looked at several houses. She's afraid to pull the trigger because a better one may come along.
Okay, got it.
So sorry if I wasn't clear.
That's okay. So Liliana, we have seen several houses, and this house that we just saw, it's within the distance that you wanted, right?
Yes, but it's not checking all the boxes. Remember at our consultation, I told you all the information, and this is not checking all the boxes.
I understand it's not the perfect home, but it checks most of your boxes, correct?
It's about 60% of my boxes, yes.
About 60%, okay. Liliana, we can continue looking for homes, but what if we don't find a home that does check all the boxes 2 weeks from now? And this home will be the best from the one that we will see in 2 weeks. How will you feel if this home is sold by then in 2 weeks?
Or 2 days.
Oh, on 2 days, yeah.
Mary, as we discussed, I'm looking for a special home with all these features. So at least 80% of my boxes need to be checked in order for me to be ready.
Okay, yes, I understand. You want the house at least to have 80% of what you're looking for. And we have seen already multiple homes. And
1
this
minute. 1 minute.
is the one that checked most of your boxes and has 60%. Now, Liliana, let me ask you something. If we keep looking for a home and 2 months from now we don't find it, would you wish you had bought this one we just saw?
Not necessary, because the more I think it's not the right fit for me. I'm still wanted to help me to find probably the best one.
You
All right.
want to find the best one.
All right, stop. All right. Mari, how'd you do?
I think she is pushing for the best house, and I don't feel that I quite, make her see that. I mean, that house might not be out there.
Yeah, it would have been better probably, obviously, yeah. So when you play the role play, Liliana, probably, it doesn't sound like it's going to check all your boxes, right? And here's the point. We had this in our role play today or yesterday. It's not our job. It's not our role. A great agent would not be selling Liliana on that house if it's not checking the boxes. However, I like where you were going, Mari. You were basically saying, okay, it checks 60%. Of all the houses we've seen, what you're attempting to do is put it into some sort of, maybe she's got too many boxes, right? Maybe she's unrealistic. Have you ever met a buyer like that? Probably not.
Oh, yeah.
However, so of all the houses we've seen, does this one check the most boxes? Liliana?
Yes, it does check most of the boxes.
Yes. Okay. And we've not found a house that checks more boxes. So what if we go and there may be something better? How long are you willing to wait for something better? You're living with your grandparents and they have 4 big Labradors.
Well, if this is the most one that check all the boxes, I maybe put down I maybe try to see how far they can lower the price, because this is not the right price for me. And if I get a better deal, I may be able to move in for a while until I find a special house for me.
Well, now basically she just changed she shuffled the deck on us. Now, Mara, you did a nice job of isolating. So congratulations on that. So that would be another role play. Now, however, the issue is this: if they're at a house and basically they've got, I don't know about 60%, but they've got 80% of what they want, there's a good chance that 85 doesn't exist. That's why our team is never allowed to use the term perfect house. I mean, when you get married, maybe you don't have a perfect spouse, right? So you settle. I'm sure my wife settled. I don't know where, but she probably settled somewhere. So you want to make sure. I mean, when people get married, and this is between me and you. Now, you could, if you know the person, you could use this. You could ask the same question. Hey, listen, Kristen, I like you, but how do I know a better one won't come along? You see, you have to say no to the one you have in your hand and hope there's a better one coming along. Yes, and what if one doesn't? Take them back to motivation. And you know what? Strike perfect house from your repertoire. So thank you guys for participating in the role play. Now give me 3 ahas that make me feel better. This is what I live for. You guys learn something, you can use something. 3 ahas. And let's see here. Moses, David, Al, anybody, give me an aha.
I really enjoyed how you just really enhanced the spouse theory. You know, you compared to a spouse and you used it as an incentive to close on almost like a time frame.
Yeah, awesome. 2 more. Thanks, Moses.
I liked seeing it again where the logic is consistent and you can use it anywhere. And like Maria was doing, she was going down the right logic road, but she hasn't got her questions right yet. And that's kind of where I feel like I am. So big aha.
Nice. Thank you so much, Adam. One more. Drum roll.
Hey, Denny, Josh Saxton, KCN Denver.
Yep.
I really like the perceived discount, the one that Ginger brought up and you guys role played. Actually getting to and educating around that, I think was huge, but I love this. I love when you said, do you want the discount or do you want the house? Like, what's more important to you? That was a huge aha for me.
Yeah, why they're waiting to save $5,000, the market goes up 15%. What sense is that, right? So anyway, appreciate you being on next Tuesday. I'll see you guys at Bold on Thursday, and Ginger, I think we're on for Monday. So kind of the same thing. We're looking forward to meeting your group. In the words of Hill Street Blues, be careful out there. See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Denny.
Denny.
Thanks, Denny.